I'm Rich Lieberman, and you're not. Just ripping off a phrase from Chevy Chase, who looks like he's about 95. I saw him the other, what was it? The other 50th anniversary of Saturday. Anyway, um, well, he made it up to the stage. We'll give him that. I talked about a word a few times in my various monologues here. I use the term posers. Posers. Now you can decipher that in any definition you want to, but it's pretty much how I look at the various Bay Area media partners here in this supposedly cosmopolitan oasis that it used to be creative. It used to be the birthplace of freedom of speech and have characters and people that were passionate, people that you may not have agreed with in certain manners, but you at least acknowledged that they had a personality, that they were creative, that they had something to say, that they had elements of style and pizzazz. And the fact that you disagreed with them had very little to do with it. You still observed, you watched, you listened. And now I can't say it any deeper. What an absolute disgrace this market is. Talk about posers. Talk about people, and the ones that really irritate me are the ones who think they're very, 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 very handsome and creative and very, very profound. When in essence, they're not. They're anything but. They're wannabes. They've been elevated to whatever stage that they possess because, frankly, you need bodies. You need people. They literally are dragging people off the street. Why? Because there's not enough good people out there. There's not enough even meager people. So what do? They put these morons, and I use that term, the pejorative, not because I'm happy, not because I want to use terms like morons and incompetence and idiots and posers, but what else can I say? And it's beyond any one medium. It's radio. We don't have much radio. We don't have any radio here. It's television, TV news. What a disgrace. It's the internet. It's newspapers themselves. We don't have many of those in the Bay Area. The Chronicle has been a joke, has always been a joke. And now that we're in this meager stage of the uselessness of newspapers, the printed newspaper especially, we all know that situation. Chronicle, what a joke. The various other Neanderthals that are only existing because for whatever reason, maybe they feel an obligation. An obligation of what? They're dummies. They put out these nincompoop stories. The Chronicle is guilty of that. You have to laugh. You could cry, but then you'd be crying all day, like myself. You could call it the crying game. Now, unless you're into red burritos and the various trendy restaurants, those are in dying existence too. There's no reason to read SF Gate. And by the way, they make it a point, SF Gate. Well, we're different than the San Francisco Chronicle. We're very, very competitive. We have nothing to do with sfchronicle.com, says SF Gate, while sfchronicle.com says we have nothing to do with SF Gate. They both kind of want to distance themselves from each other because they're both pathetic. SF Gate is nothing but an internet bait shop. It's not even interesting. They do the same story, same shit job day after day after day. And by virtue of the fact that they get clicks, based on their crappy sensationalistic stories that they have to put out by their various 20-something pimple-faced assholes who eat, Gouda cheese and alfalfa sprouts on grain bread as their lunch. I guess they have to be considered as palpable. Oh my God, talk about internet posers. We don't have any newspapers left, folks. Let's just get it out in the open. We have no newspapers, and the whole newspaper industry is in a complete fuck up phase. The only ones that are still relevant are like the New York Times, their internet edition, the Wall Street Journal, a few others. Local newspapers are gone, especially here in the Bay Area. Posers, gone. It's a joke. It's sad. Go on and on and on and on, but it is what it is. We ain't going to do anything about that. That, more than anything else, is just simply a reflection of the current state of newspapers, and that's been a shit show for years now. Nothing's going to create anything other than what it is right now. It's just simply a disaster. Too many people want freebies. So the advertisers know that. And anyway, that's an in and of itself. Radio, what a joke. Posers. I've saved the best for last in terms of TV news and the local stations here, the big posers. Basically, and I keep saying it, we don't have any radio here. KQED is a joke. KCBS is a monopoly joke. Alleged reporters who are nothing more than ingrained bean counters couldn't cover a paper cup if their life depended on it. It's a disaster. And surviving, oh my God, that would be a compliment. Why are you so hard, Rich, on the Bay Area? You live here. Well, I do. And I remember when it was fantastic, even in the internet age, when we had decent people. Nowadays, we have dreck upon dreck upon dreck upon dreck. It's crap. And it's getting crappier. I don't know how long they could last. But by and large, they are posers. Posers, which, by the way, KNBR, just dying to hang on. The few little internet drivers, Uber drivers, posers left. And news stations, posers. TV news. Oh my God. How did this happen? How did it happen so quickly? Look at these fucking people. They're embarrassments. And they have no creativity. They have no wamba jamba. No, oh my God, they're trying something new. Look, I gave credit to CBS News 24/7. That's the streaming site. I said at least they're trying. Well, they're trying, but if you look at the various articles now in the trades, that's not working. It's a very, very, very short shelf life. And unfortunately, they hire these people. There are no stars. There are not even any mediocre people. They're all posers. Dan Ashley, you look bored. You look unexcited. You're a poser now, I guess, Dan. You have no elements of Van Amberg or McElhatton. KPIX. I think the world of Juliette Goodrich. Unfortunately, there's not many of her there. There's just all these people who have that basic flaw of vanilla. Posers. There's nothing exciting anymore. KTVU, what a fucking pathetic joke. Mike Meeback, are you kidding me? Mike Meeback has no missive. Hell, he couldn't lead a hooker to a strip show. He's terrible. Same thing with Heather Holmes. She works hard. Well, fantastic. Good for her. There's nothing there. There's no element of style. Posers. Not one sex holds all the cards. It's both male, female, white, black, gay, straight, Hispanic. Check all the boxes. Sports, news, weather, anything. This market, this is a top 10 market. Geez, I'm glad to see that. You want to know why a lot of the public hates the media? Because they see through the bullshit. They see the forced content. They see the forced maneuvering that doesn't amount to anything. The problem is the fact, folks, we are in another age. We are in the internet age where everything has become marginalized and everything has become just chock full of crap and dreck. Everybody's shouting. They get that. Nobody has any kind of realness. Nobody can pontificate with any ounce of authority because nobody has any creativity or credibility, and the public knows it. The public is aware of it. I'm not screaming or yelling to make a point. I'm animated because I keep saying this, and I think to myself, it can't get any worse. It's got to get better. No, it's getting worse. And the worst of the worst are these assholes, these morons who think they're good. Talk about posers who believe that they have the inertia and the wherewithal to emote something different, something new. Well, they either won't, they can't, or they're just plain incapable. They think by shouting, they think by acting dwarfisy or stupid that they're going to get something out of it. In fact, it makes it even worse. Folks, we have developed this and it's unique to this area. I look through a lot of media in other markets. I've talked about Boston, talked about New York. I've talked about, God forbid, Miami, Austin, Philadelphia, Chicago, Carolina, Charlotte. And there are good people. Not a lot. Of course, not what it used to be, but at least they're not posers. At least they know what they are. They give you what they're capable of giving you, whether it's TV, radio, internet, what have you. They do a yeoman's job. I have said this locally, and I'm going to say it again. It bears repeating. I think Sacramento is very underrated, very much so. Look at some of the Sacramento stations on television. Listen, by God, to some of the Sacramento radio stations. Now, look, there's not a lot. We're not where we were. I'm talking about Sacramento. But at least they try. But at least they have something. TV news in Sacramento, vastly superior over this shit in the Bay Area. The Sacramento Bee, not a great paper, but a decent paper. Certainly better than the fucking San Francisco Chronicle. But that's like saying my week-old kumquat is better than a 2-week-old kumquat. It's pretty self-evident. I wish I could say good things. I wish I could say terrific things, even mediocre things about the Bay Area media. There's a few good folks. They know who they are. They're not posers. Unfortunately, what we have is a can of dreck. It is sardines minus the smelly heads. And I like sardines. I love sardines. But the context of which I'm talking about with regards to sardines, stinks to high heaven. You know what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you do now. I wish and hope it will get better, but I'm not going to hold my breath, and neither should you. These are posers.